Hello and welcome to another Best Junglers episode, this one for patch 25.12, a nice meaty juicy patch filled with the return of the king. And no, I'm not talking about Virkayu obviously. As always, we will go over all of the changes and the shifts in the meta due to this singular change. Well, and some other small changes technically, but for every single rank as well as for low and high MMR specifically, and for the best jungle knowledge to apply to these champions so you can reach Master, Grandmaster, Challenger, or whatever your rank goals might be, head over to Virkayu.gg. Not only do I have a free jungle improvement resource, I also have a dedicated program with jungle video courses, jungle coaching classes, a jungle VOD library. We already have a lot of community VOD reviews and coaching classes for Season 15, sharing all the tips and tricks to reach new peaks in this season. All the fundamentals you need for right now are available in a ridiculous amount of hours for content tailored for your MMR so you can climb to reach your peak rank as fast as possible. So to hit your peak rank in Season 15 and jungle diff every game you play, head to the link in the description below or to Virkayu.gg. Right, I think we have to start off with the return of Lee Sin, king of all junglers. Even though he's weak, he still is like the highest player at most of the time, except for a small period of history where he was truly weak. This season though, I don't think anybody on planet Earth thought, hey, Lee Sin is a true 1v9 solo queue climber, he is amazing. Even though his win rate is bad, I think you should play it. I don't think many people thought that at all. Sure, you could have executed, sure you could have climbed and reached your peak with the champion, but would you have honestly enjoyed it? I don't think so, but currently what they've done is for MSI, as well as because he's just weak and that's honestly the truth, they decided to buff him. And as always, it wasn't a teeny tiny buff. I mean, they think it's a small teeny tiny buff, especially people who are commentating on these changes, but when you go from a slow amount of 20 base to 35 base at rank 1, and the cooldown goes down by a second, that is a disgustingly strong extra boost for your early CC. We've seen this in the past when like Echo's W goes to 2.25 seconds, boom! All of a sudden he was again meta. Yeah, they buffed his clear speed too, but that CC really made ganks and fights work in his favor. Lee Sin, same thing. If he can stick to you, and if your team has CC, only pain and fisting will follow you unto death. Now, overall he has been solid with his atomization. It's been boring for a very long time, but while you can go different routes, the standardized bruiser build with your clips and centered sky and black levers and Sterix gauges, those will always deliver unto you great LP gains, especially with these buffs. Echo is next because, well, nothing's changed for his part. They haven't reduced the AP atomization buffs that they gave him, and yeah, they were straight up buffs when, things cost way less. It's actually kind of nice. Not that we would have any idea what that means in the real world, but at least you get to play League and pretend you get a nice little discount on your items. And to add to that, I don't have any new information for you, especially after all these years, but I can tell you in this specific meta, on this specific patch, the junglers you're facing all like to go in to a certain degree. And that's where Echo's strength comes in as well, from patience and in and out team fighting. A lot of Echoes I know always think about, the deep dive killing the ADC, the Soraka, mispositioning, getting stunned by a Pantheon or a Jarvan or kicked out by Lee Sin. The best Echoes know when to do that, but also know when not to do that. Your flanking angles, waiting for the engage, now trapping the Jarvan and his whole team in his own crater with your W. Looking for those kinds of outplays will net you more LP than trying to be a Kha'Zix or a Rengar. Which of course you can be when you got 15 to 20 kills and you get that death cap rolling, but you do have to consider games where you don't have it rolling and you need to think a bit more before clicking buttons and R'ing out of dangerous situations. Unlike that Diana who R's into situations. Well, not my Diana's when I'm playing support, she kind of just R's and then flashes and it looks ridiculous, but most of you hopefully are executing the R-flash combo very well. I mean, you could certainly justify putting her a little lower on the list, and I think that's absolutely fair. Remember, a lot of the particular orders of champions can be a little bit of a preferential thing. However, in this particular case, I don't think it's wrong to put it here with Echo because they have a very similar archetype. Different philosophies in terms of how to execute it, but same goals, right? Can I assassinate someone? No. Alright, can I counter gank, counter fight, maybe do the counter engage? Yes. Can I maybe split push and then decide to cut into the team fight once they send two people to rotate because that's what that needs because I was farming so well? Yes. So there's a lot of crossover there, and of course atomization being AP. Diana does give you more of the bruiser option if you want to just be a drain mage off meta tank, because they still buffed her base values a while back and that has not been nerfed, so the buffs just come with that for free plus atomization buffs. Overall, Diana performs extremely well in every aspect of the jungle. Just don't try and match a Lee Sin or a Jarvan or a Pantheon unnecessarily early. You don't got that power. Wait until you scale up, counter jungle them, get a 2-level lead, and then make them very sad. Much like Nocturne, who's sad that you end up playing him more. Guys, play Nocturne. I understand it's boring to a lot of people. The rework will arrive by 2034, I guarantee it. But in the meantime, you can do very similar things to Diana, except with a Pantheon's macro play and your spell shield. That champion is so damn strong, we'll talk about him next. You can use your kit to actually kind of frustrate him and get in his way. He drops his gigantic man nuts on your bottom line. Guess what? You can already counter gank it if you were tracking it properly. He wants to stun you, you hold your W until he presses the button. Now you don't get stunned. Not to mention, he just handles the meta particularly well in my opinion. I don't have any fear of any of the champions on this list. Sure, I can dislike some of them, but you make Kazakh's mains cry on Twitter, so why wouldn't you want to do that? Pantheon, on the other hand, makes everyone cry, and that champion is so astro strong, it's a little bit ridiculous. Also, he's a really good counter to Lee Sin because he just straight up beats him. He doesn't care about the slow buff, he doesn't care about anything really. A Pantheon snowball brings more dismay than the Persians felt from the 300. The fact that he has a low HP amplifier on that Q means you get executed basically. The fact that he's got the armor penetration, that's a buff from many moons ago, means he can straight up scale juicily. Sure, we can call that a word. Overall, if you understand high pressure jungling, like say Rek'Sai Season 9 kind of stuff, which means for a lot of you don't know what that means, but back when we had to gank a lot and we didn't have a lot of camps to fall back to, you had to be really creative with your aggressiveness in terms of getting into lanes, impacting them, and shutting down the enemy jungler. Now that all makes sense in isolation, but while Pantheon can farm decently, you don't want to avoid doing those things for the sake of farm. That's for your Dianas and your Nocturnes. You really want to get in the face of the enemy jungler, get in the face of laners, and push at a high aggressive tempo. Not stupid tempo, aggressive, measured, calculated, tracking and counter ganking and using your big ult to impact the macro of the map. And obviously the straight up PvP when you have a lead is a little bit obnoxious. Much like Jarvan's shoulder pads, but I don't have anything else to add other than, hey, play it like you've always played it, but if you need to farm until 6 at a coaching session with the Jarvan the other day, I said, how's your ganking? He said, look, it's my weakest part of my game, but my mid and the late is super strong, and once it gets 6, I typically feel comfortable. Okay, I said, let's look at your ganks early. How can we fix them? Your timing, your pushing after the gank, your tracking of the enemy jungler for the counter gank, your angles of approach. We did that. But he played way better when we said, listen, let's just focus on farming for level 6, full clear, scuttle, gank, full clear again, maybe look for a dragon, another gank, and then you can use your 6 to go dunking. That's fine, because Jarvan's max HP passive for farming and just general ability to farm is way underrated still. Go and get your 8 CS per minute in games where you can't gank. Don't force ganks because you're Jarvan, right? You can do a Pantheon count in that regard, and your team fighting is just better later on. So play more measured, more intelligent, and if you need to farm a little bit more early, you can. And while Kazakhs likes to farm souls and skulls, please don't go invading and too aggressive on the PvP. I'm seeing, and the poor guy gets the footage here is saying, look, I can't find good Kazakhs players because they're just playing too aggressive and dying. Why are you guys doing that? You can play a really measured game as an assassin. You will get your items, you will get your gold and your experience, and you will kill people. The only time that doesn't happen if you miscalculate and keep going 0-1-0. 0-2-0 and actually struggling to get going because you didn't say, well, there's no real ganks here, there's no invades I can do, why don't I just get 6, get my evolve, and then look to make plays. Capitalize on the opportunities the map gives you, the mistakes the enemy jungler makes, and then when you've got a nice little lead, you can just run around and do whatever you want, but don't do it before that moment in time. Unlike Hecarim, who always lives in time because he farms an ult and farms an ult and rotates an ults, I rate this champion higher than I think a lot of people actually do right now, but I've coached a lot of it over the years. I faced a lot of it over the years. Maybe this is a little bit Stockholm syndrome from the 2021 season, but there's no denying that with the amount of different build diversity you have in the kit in terms of supportive, a little bit assassination, and fighter disruption, as long as you're not yeeting your ultimate across the map every time and timing that properly, you're gonna have a really dominating kit, and your mid-game farm spike for Hecarim is insane. You absolutely rinse camps after that moment, so just don't be too far behind where you lose control of your jungle. Again, play read and react measured jungling. This is something I've always coached. It always sounds a little boring, but if you know football or basketball or any sport, you gotta play what the defense gives you. If you keep forcing something against the defense that's designed to counter it, you ain't gonna win. So think about it that way. And on the note of thinking, if you don't want to do that on the A tier page, go for Talon. Yes, he's easy to play. It does require good jungle knowledge to maximize it, and good champion limitation knowledge to make fringe plays that allow you to snowball quicker. That's where there's a high skill ceiling. Let's not confuse these things. Easy to pick up doesn't mean low skill ceiling. Just means anybody can pick Talon, farm, yeet walls, run across the map, and kill people. But a lot of people don't actually know those damage limitations, don't know how to maximize the ultimate, don't know where to time their showings, and that's where the expert talents and high elo come in. Regardless, champion good, go play. Much like the bare necessities, champion good, go play. A lot of build diversity, Do love the Black Cleaver and the Iceborne Spirit Wizard builds a lot more. You can slap in the Cosmic Drive there as well. Obviously, the Cosmic and Naviri builds are still there. I have always been less of an enjoyer of that, but it is objectively strong. And then my typical Titanic Trinity build, that is absolutely still good to go, but it is really about chompy bursts on your W. You don't have the same cooldowns. It's like a hybridization of them a little bit, but you're squishier. You don't have as much CDR reduction, but it does work if you want big oomph in all of your attacks and big oomph in terms of taking turrets and just rinsing camps. Lilia is a champion in the hit game League of Legends, and she was definitely, without a doubt, super well designed to have absolutely almost every stat that you could possibly imagine. You know, almost. Don't verify that. But she does have max HP damage, healing slows, movement speed boosts, and a sleep. So, you know, strong, always. Kit good. Nunun and Willip also, you know, kit good. Basically, a lot of people are still kind of flexing and thinking about the full AP stuff, and you know what, there's a lot of hybrid builds that will work, that will get you high elo, that will allow you to survive in high elo and do very well. But as always, we do recommend the straight up Leandries into tank builds. They just do absolutely everything you need. You don't need to do more damage than that. It allows you to play around win con, and this champion almost has zero weaknesses when you execute it properly, and of course your map control is hitherto uncontestable. Much like Viego's uncontestable urge to revive his dead wife even though she probably died to get away from him. I mean, that guy is needy. Much like the mains of the champion who claim he is weak. He is not weak, he is strong. You got resets, and yes, you can't just bulldoze over people because of your AD damage growth nerve way back when, but who cares about that when you have like 220 people OTPing or main it in high elo across the world. That's the most of any champion, by the way. So if the most OTPable mainable champion in every server combined is over 220, the champ is probably good. Go and watch your favorite, look for their particular builds. I mean, obviously the Trinity Force, if you've got Collector, Titanic, and there's a lot of different variations you can go now to offset the damage nerf from a couple months ago, but go and watch them, scout them, watch the replays, figure out which build path best suits the way you like to play Viego, more assassin based, more disruptive fighter, more frontline. Don't really recommend the frontline, but you know what I mean. And then get yourself to the right mental state to take over. Yeah, Elise is here, high tempo queen, early game queen, turret dive, snowball, get to the mid game, end the game. Don't really have much to add other than, yeah, she was nerfed. No one cares who mains her. The AP itemization changes, which is too damn good. And Xin Shao is going weaker in high elo at this particular moment for general population. If you don't like any compromises on your early game in terms of just rinsing the ganks and fisting people without thinking and pressing W and going in, it doesn't matter how long away it was, then play this guy. If you honestly can't close games out with Xin Shao by 2025, then that's basically all you focus on. How can I get to that point? Because once you do, my friends, there's nothing stopping you from gold, emerald, diamond, or master tier. That level of skill requirement for high elo is so important. If you can hone it now through Xin Shao and not have to think about champion mechanics, because his are not difficult, then hey, do this. And I was gonna put Shaco for a little bit of rage bait because his win rate is good, his data is good, but you know, let's just go with Nefuri. Win rate data isn't good, but she is objectively still fine, solid, and can carry games very, very easily. Another, you know, let's just face it, failure of a mini rework because they had to nerf her 15 times and they took 2 months to do it when it should have been done immediately. I'm of the opinion that if you can build Assassin and Bruiser at the same time, you're probably not in a healthy state. It's better just to be able to build Assassin, let Assassins be squishy, high damage, and require high skill positioning. We do not need them to be Bruiser as well. For the low elo page, nothing super weird here. Nocturne, Warwick, obviously great. I do love him in general as well. I just think there's other champions that are objectively better for the Diamond Master climbs. I've had this discussion with OTPs as well. However, you can use them in whatever rank you like, but especially low elo to gold. Super fresh, super good, super rabies. Amumu at the same time cries about the rabies he's gonna get. And then you've got the Master Briar. Kane is great down here still, as well as the Volley Baba. As always with low elo, don't pick something too complicated, focus on your jungling, simple execution of game plans. A lot of what we talk about in the courses with tracking is very important here. You get this down right, you will be better than everybody else once you get to gold. And for high elo, welcome back Lee Sin. You know, I'm used to having him just sit here. I never change the icon because it's always just the best in high elo. I wonder how long that will happen today. Should we set a bet for that? But Pantheon being very good into him means he's right there as well. Echo performing superbly still in high elo. You want the freest LP, honestly? All of the champions in this video, they get picked or banned and then everybody kind of catches on, but that doesn't really happen with Echo, so get a free LP, honestly, with that one. Jarvan is here. You'll see the Talon, the Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is a little weaker here. I acknowledge that, but I do think if you execute properly, you're great. Same thing, though, can be said for Hecarim, and you could replace it if you're an OTP with a Rengar, with Balveth, with a Kindred. As always, high elo is about very much your skill set and your champion, provided your champion is not too weak compared to the average level of meta junglers. Then of course it becomes more difficult. And we have to throw Nidalee back here, probably higher up than this actually. Just wanted to slide her in at the bottom, just, I don't know, because the order doesn't really matter for high elo other than maybe the top 3. But she got that E buff, and she got a 15% AP ratio buff, which means it's time to watch Nidalee all the time. Nidalee Lee Sin meta returns for pro play. That's for sure what we wanted to see, but it is better than watching Vi again. And finally, we have Zed. Yes, I don't value this particularly because I think you have to be good at the champion and good at jungling. Your fast clearing and your pressure points only come by because you actually understand what that means. If you don't understand what that means, you're too slow clearing, you build wrong, and you don't show up at the right time and exploit those tempo gaps you get, you're just not going to execute on the champion, which is why the win rate is lower. So if you can understand what I just said and actually execute on the champion, unlike me who would look like a duck using his feet to actually pilot the champion, hence I don't play it, go ahead, can definitely get you some great gains right now. Those are your best junglers overall. Remember, to actually succeed, you need to have the ultimate early game jungle guide. For that, click on your screen now.